Okay, we can start. Uh, Good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure being here with all of you. And this is a session where we have some of the best luminaries in the commodity business, especially when it relates to pulses. And instead of me talking about the subject, I'd like to hear everyone else. So I'd request Mr. Brij Sabharwal, past president of the CPAI, to give us introductory remarks, and then we'll have each speaker. The format will be a little tight because we would like to keep more time for discussions. Each speaker is going to give introductory remarks, his opening remarks, for about 5 minutes. And after the time is over, I'm going to suggest that the time is up. But and immediately when the three speakers have finished their presentations, their points of view, have given the points of view, we'll have a discussion on various aspects based on what they've said and based on the little that I have understood. Okay, sir? Okay. Could we begin with Brij Sabharwalji?
Welcome to the webinar on Indian pulses market, managing price volatility with the commodity derivatives. It is the third webinar in the series which CPI is jointly doing with NCDEX. And our two previous webinars were very successful. In CPI, we have got a good feedback of those two seminars also. On behalf of CPAI, I am actually speaking. I am speaking on behalf of my president, who has to urgently leave for some work, and for that reason he is not present here. So about 15 minutes back only, I was told that I had to take this duty. And my apology to Mr. Arun Raste, who is here, the Managing Director of NCDEX, that we had a interactive session with the NCDEX and the CPI National Executive, and I could not attend as I had a presentation with the Government of India on that day at the same time. On behalf of CPI, I welcome the today's speaker, that is Mr. Bimal Kothari, Vice Chairman IPGA, Mr. Kapil Dev, the Chief Business Products NCDEX, my colleague Mr. Sandeep Jain, who is a very renowned speaker that for last 10 years he is coming on various television channels as an expert on the commodity market. And I will also like to mention that he is our founder National Executive Committee member also. And I also welcome Mr. Suresh Arora, the Vice Chairman of CPI NR, who will be giving the concluding remarks a vote of thanks. Just to tell you about the CPAI, we are the only organization among the commodity brokers in the country. Initially, there used to be 5 small organizations, associations, one at Jaipur, one at Indore, one at Cochin, one at Ahmedabad, and one in Calcutta, which we all merged with CPAI, and we are the only organization now. We are into the 2 committees of SEBI and 3 subcommittees of SEBI also. SEBI, we are the member of the Commodity Derivative Advisory Council, the Risk Management Committee, and 3 of their subcommittees. We are consulted not only by the exchanges, the SEBI, but even Government of India also consult us on various topics relating to the commodity market. It's my pleasure to announce here that we are working with the Government of India and at a very fast pace, and we are in the advanced stage of discussions that why not to activate the options in the commodities, that is including the agri commodities, so that it can be a replacement to the MSP. We have explained to the government in detail, and probably that's what the NCDX also wants. But we are in the advanced stage of the discussions, and some alternatives which we may be coming out very shortly, that why can't to safeguard the interest of the farmers who are coming to play on the options, if NAFED can play a role, the details of which, the nitty-gritty, I may not be now telling it, but yes, we are in advanced stage of discussion, and we are even advising to the government that the farmer agitation which is going on, even it can be subdued if we can explain to them that the options on the commodity exchanges, especially the agricultural market and the agricultural NCDX is the exchange, that it can be a replacement to the MSP. And but only thing is that how the profit and loss which a farmer cannot get on an everyday basis, if NAFED can take up that responsibility, we can certainly be making it active. This is one. The second is that how to make commodity exchanges and commodity market more active. Again, we are in advanced stage of discussions with the government. We are also interested that few of the more commodities should be the agro commodities which were banned or which are not started at yet, that why not, that are also introduced in to the commodity market. And not only that, even the subsidiary of the NCDX, that NCDX E-Marketing Limited, NEML, how it can be activated, that also we are discussing in advanced stage with the government of India. Not only that, we recently on 31st of March, pre that second wave of COVID, we met the finance minister, and very shortly we are going to meet, maybe in the coming week itself, to the MOS Finance, the date and time, because of that parliament session, the exact timing will be given to us. And in the coming week itself, we are also meeting the Secretary Economic Affairs. So this was all about the, a little bit about the CPAI. I may also like to mention here that CPAI has bought its own office in Delhi. It's a 800 square feet office at the most prime location at the KG Marg on Connaught Circus, which we will be inaugurating it very shortly. We are trying that how a senior man, if can be available, to inaugurate it on the web, but that too will be inaugurating it on the web very shortly. Over to you, Mr. Bhaskar, and special thanks to the MD to join this webinar.
Thank you very much, Abid Saab. It's good to hear your views and the discussions that you're having with the government, about which we should hear very, very quickly. In a way, then, this discussion will be a precursor to whatever discussions and decisions you and the government take in the very near future. Has Sandeep Jain come in?
Yes, yes.
Wonderful. So could we begin with Sandeep Jain, who is the chairman and services and convention committee chief of the CPAI? Sandeep, are you there?
Yeah, I'm very much there. Yeah, thank you.
Great. I couldn't see you. That's why I was wondering where you were.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for the invitation. And thank you so much.
Yes. Sandeep, just 1 second. I don't think you were there at the beginning. What we said is each speaker speaks for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, we have interactions where it's a free, where it's an open house.
Okay, great, great. So basically, again, thank you so much once again, and thank you so much, Sabharwal Saab. Always, you have been so kind and given such a lovely and a beautiful introduction. Mr. Bimal Kothari is here, who has been a very, very instrumental figure in the whole of the pulses industry. And Mr. Kapil Dev, the name says it all. And he's there. And Mr. Bhaskar, always, last time also I really enjoyed the way you moderated the whole, session. So I really complimented you a lot in the concluding remarks. So anyways, the topic is actually very burning. And in fact, since last uh, 15, 16 years of the existence of, I think 18 years of the existence of NCDX, whenever we see a very big rally in any of the commodities on the exchanges, we see some or the other kind of, issues coming up, maybe some restrictions or some, margins and all these. So whenever we see these kind of, movements, we always say that, when it comes to agri commodities and particularly NCDX, which is our first love, in fact, when it comes to commodity exchanges, we all started our career brilliantly with NCDX. And since last 2008-9, when we saw first time a very big move in Tuar and Uda, then we saw lots of issues there. Since then, we have been seeing how things are actually getting disturbed whenever we see good volumes or whenever we see good spike, and the government actually interferes, or rightfully they have to interfere because they are all essential commodities. So we have seen in chana, and in fact in the past also we have seen, and it went as high as 5,900, 6,000, and then again on the announcement it came down very sharply, and again it has taken a bounce back and it's taken a support, because as an analyst or as a trader or as a broker, we always see prices rather than the policy making is always very important. Then again there was a very, very strong opposition from all the stakeholders. Then government was kind enough to do some relaxation on the stock limit rules also. Now again, the chana prices have again taken a support, but then all these things will continue happening, and I think we have seen particularly in these pulses. So let's see, and we have seen lots of these associations, particularly IPJ, and they have actually had sustained efforts and it has borne fruit also. And I think Mr. Bimal Kothari is here, and we would love to hear him how they have actually worked on it and how they have got the relaxations, because it's very difficult, lots of times if these relaxation come in, so we see a particular disturbance in the movement of the prices, and somehow when we talk about price discovery, so it is not the right discovery which we are seeing now. So whenever it has happened in the past also, and it has happened many of the times in last 18 years, as I've said, in different commodities, be it guar, be it chana, in all the commodities, we have seen some or the other, intervening measures which come and disturbs the price discovery mechanism. So we really want that, but then, all these are, though chana is a very broad commodity, we have seen lots of narrow commodities also on the exchanges, which actually keeps on continuously going up and up. But then chana, sarso, all these are at least broader commodities. And I think NCDX have been very, very successfully managing all these controversial commodities also, and all these controversial issues also. And lots of times we have to burn fingers also, because whenever the positions are on a particular side and all these kind of measures come in, then our clients have to actually suffer a lot. And that's why we have seen, couple of times the interest of the participants goes down. But then again, one has to be there with the exchanges when it comes to price discovery or hedging. And we have seen how successfully the exchange has been actually crossing all these tough times. So over to you, I think, and Mr. Bimal Kothari, Mr. Kapil Dev, and MD sir is always there. So we can always, I look forward to listening to them also.
Brilliant. I didn't have to even look at my watch. Amazing. But thank you very much. It was good to hear you. And could I have our next speaker, Bimal Kothari, who has, again, tremendous experience in this business.
Good evening, Mr. Bhaskar and my all friends and participants. Thank you for inviting me to this webinar. I am representing IPGA here. IPGA, India Pulses and Grains Association. Basically, we are the apex body of the trade and industry of the pulses sector. We have the membership covering primary producers, importers, exporters, traders, dal mills, even the corporate players in packaged and branded segment. We at IPGA are in continuous liaison with the government to provide them policy inputs and guidance relating to the host of issues of the pulses trade in industry. We are also the integral part of World Pulses Body, which is Global Pulse Confederation. Mr. Sandeep Jain was asking that how we got the relaxation. As I said, that we are having a continuous liaison with the government, and we informed the government that with these restrictions, this might be more counterproductive because India needs the pulses at the moment because we are anticipating some scarcity, particularly in tuber and urad. And if the imports, if the stock limit is put on these pulses, then the import will be hampered, because with the stock limits, the importers would not like to bring in the goods into the country, because the quantity allowed in the stock limit is very small in compared to the larger shipments. So we try to convince the government, and by stating that we need to smoothen our supply. If we choke the supply, if we throttle the supply, then we are going to see a price surge in the coming months, because now from August to November, we are having festivals in most of our states. So Government of India were very prompt, and we convinced them, and there were some number of relaxation at the notification. Importers were completely exempted to bring in the goods into the country. Dal millers were given the stock limit for the 6 months to their capacity. So there was a good amount of relaxation by government, and we really welcome the efforts. We really welcome this, and I'm really thankful to the Honorable Minister, Sri Piyush Goyalji, for this. So, friends, let me tell you, I'm really delighted to be part of this webinar organized by NCDEX. IPGA and NCDEX, we have signed also a MOU few years back, with our intention to work together. NCDEX has always participated in our biennial Pulses Conclave, which we conduct once in 2 years. So the next conclave, Pulses Conclave, will be in the year 2022. I would like to tell you all to attend that. Of course, we have time. We'll send an invitation to all of you, but please attend that, because it's this conclave covers wide number of subjects, including the value addition and the opportunities in the pulses sector. So coming to our today's topic, market price volatility with commodity derivatives. Of course, I'll tell something about India's pulses sector. As you all are aware, and it's a well-established fact, that India is the world's largest producer, processor, importer, and consumer of pulses. Our production is about 23 to 25 million tons, 23 to 24 million tons, and the demand is pegged at about 26.5 million tons this year. With the effort of Government of India and the favorable monsoon for past 3 years, our production has increased significantly. Our production has been stagnant at about 15 to 16 million tons for past many years, and the supply, that the gap between demand and supply was always made through the imports. Our imports peaked at 6.6 million tons in 2016-17, which has significantly come down after this initiative to increase the production has taken up by the Government of India. And now, last year, our import was about 2.5 million tons. And Government of India has this initiative to boost the production by announcing higher MSP and procuring the pulses at MSP yielded positive results. And now we are inching towards the self-sufficiency, which is the Atmanirbhar, which is the which has been announced by our Honorable Prime Minister. But definitely there is a challenge because let me tell you, we add about 1 million to our demand every year. So by 2030, we expect the demand would be around 32 to 33 million tons. Our pulses production and consumption both will keep expanding. Our per capita consumption has a great potential to expand because of pervasive malnutrition and protein deficiency. To ensure this, that of course, to meet this gap between demand and supply and to meet the eventuality, we have been supported by our trading partners like Myanmar, Malawi, and Mozambique. Government of India has signed MOU for the supply of certain pulses from these countries every year. Friends, commodity market, as you know, by their very nature, is volatile. Pulses market is also not an exception. Supply side factors, demand side factors, both impact the market, both impact the prices. In our country, pulses are cultivated on marginal and rain-fed areas. Production is largely dependent on weather, rainfall, cultivated areas, input usage, agronomics. Okay, sorry, I'll try to finish. You gave me 5 minutes. So there is a lot to speak on the pulses sector, but I'll definitely rather because Mr. Bhaskar wants me to say the concluding remarks. So in sum, pulses market is very volatile. Prices fluctuate because of cost of factors. Market participant must learn to manage the price risk by adopting appropriate risk management tool. Future trading or derivatives trading can be used as effective tool. So friends, thank you very much. I would have, if there would have been more time, I would have spoken more on the subject because there is a lot to talk about pulse sector and this and the opportunities and also how to manage the risk. But I think the time is constrained. Thank you so much for the audience. Thank you.
Bimalji will come back to you.
Yes, sure.
Things that you wanted to talk about, how to mitigate risk and whatnot, will be issues that you'll have to dwell on.
Sure. Thank you.
Mr. Bhaskar, you could have given him 1 or 1.5 minutes more because I spoke lesser than 5 minutes.
I will come back to him.
Of course, got triggered, but my target was not met.
Yeah. If I would have known that, I would have requested.
Like a trader. This is speaking
that
like
I
a
want
trader.
6.5 minutes.
Yes. Brilliant. Okay. Can we have the third speaker, Kapil Dev?
Thank you, Mr. Bhaskar. Again, I'll say, nice to see your smiling face again on the screen. And thank you, Mr. Sandeep, Mr. Sabharwal, and Bimalji. From the exchange, means we have discussed about the market challenges, exchanges faces, and the challenges pulses industry do face. As an exchange, I think that is something we connect all the dots. Pulses market is one of the most volatile market across the commodities. While all the commodities have volatility in range of 20-25% average, if you see last 5-year data, pulses has remained in range of 50 to 60%, almost double. We are a self-sufficient country in terms of pulses, or we are inching towards that, but still we are a demand-driven country. Our production remain very close to what we consume, or maybe little sort of that. Any small deviation result into high volatility. And I think every year, at least one pulses is being talked that, okay, this is something which is happening, right? And this year is a different when we are talking about all the pulses. We are dependent on the import, not only one country, but I think now, which was earlier limited to 2-3 countries, now I think 15 countries are exporting pulses to the Indian market, and that's how our market is growing and our dependency on the international market is growing. That's point number 2. Point number 3, pulses production have not seen a consistent growth. If you see, right, what it was last year, we are really unable to maintain the growth because of various reasons, what Mr. Kothari has said. So consistency in production we have not yet achieved, though our production is increasing, but still there is a variation. And yes, there are more competitive crops now which are coming in comparison to pulses. Farmers have much larger choices as compared to what they have, especially in the rain-fed areas. Irrigation facilities are coming in and they have better choices. The close competition is there. And I think all of these things have added further to the volatility, right? And I would say the pulses trade among all the commodities, the most tough trade to do. It doesn't have only the volatility. The number of events you see in a year in any of the pulses is much higher, whether it's a government policies, import, attention of the policymakers, attention of the consumer, right? I think everything is quite high. And that volatility is something which definitely needs to be managed. We as an exchange we are the only exchange, I would rather say, in the world who offers a liquid future in pulses market. Chana futures work as a global benchmark for Chana prices, and it's closely correlated with other pulses as well. So I would rather say it's an anchor for all the pulses being traded in the global market, except few small sizes pulses. It is very well traded across the segment, starting from the farmers to the traders, exporter and importer. And it is being delivered what these markets are meant for hedging and risk management. It's the largest Y holder at this point of time for the exchange, close to 1,50,000 MT. You know, Chana contract also have seen what Mr. Sandeep has mentioned 2-3 times, that has happened, the ban and suspension and some very rigid intervention, but it has always stood firm against all these things. And whenever we relaunched it, it is the quickest one to grow. And you know, it grows because it is being used by the value chain participants for price risk management. And there are people who knows how to use this market for price risk management and why we need a futures market. So as an exchange, our focus always remain, yes, there is a volatility and you can manage it using derivatives market. And of course, you should manage the volatility. We cannot have much control over the weather. We cannot have much control over the global policies, government policies, but only thing which we can design and define and have control over is that risk management policy we do have for our organization. So as an exchange, we have been pushing this continuously, not only to the trade, but to the farmers as well. Now we are connecting FPOs to this financial market, FPOs who are engaged in pulses trading coming forward, hedging their crops using derivatives market. They are buying put options even at the time of sowing itself and protecting themselves from the price risk. And that is supposed to definitely grow much more. So we would definitely, I would like to discuss on these aspects further into the discussion. But one thing I would like to mention that derivatives market definitely give you much more stability and the way how prices are being discovered are different. Just for an example, if you see 4 pulses, which are the largely traded pulse in Indian market, Oda, Tuar, Matar or Chana, Chana has the least volatility, you know, which is around 20-25%, while other commodities have 60-65%. I would not say we have done something, but I think because there is a futures market available and the participation and discovery is much smooth than any other commodities, any other pulses we have, it has given a lot of stability to the prices and being used very efficiently by the market participants. So that is from our side, Mr. Bhaskar, and I would like to continue this discussion going forward. Thank you.
Wonderful. I think we're going to have a very good discussion from the views that I've heard so far. But let me pose a couple of questions right in the beginning. It's open to everyone else. I'm going to ask these questions more as a generalist and not as a trader. As a generalist, I know that farmers grow a lot more when they can anticipate higher prices. That's point one, which is axiomatic across all crops. The second point is that price discovery takes place when markets are given the freedom to discover prices. When a government decides to import or not to allow any imports, that is a that is something which is disruptive because it does not allow the natural flow of market forces. So the question there again comes up, how do you hedge your risk? When the biggest risk could be a government taking a decision whether to allow it or not to allow it, whether to allow stock limits or not to allow stock limits. So that can be disruptive in a way. How does a country cope with it? And the third related question is, when I look at Canada, the Sardars there, when I look at Myanmar, and I've got a few friends there, they grow pulses only to cater to the Indian markets. If they can plan the annual production on the base of a market, why can't we plan a domestic market in view of the demand that is there or demand that is expected? So I have these wild questions over 3 territories, and I would like to get some enlightenment from all the 3 speakers who understand this trade much better. And what could you do to A, mitigate risk, which is what Bimalji was talking about earlier, and how do you make sure that the market is not disrupted? Open to everyone. Now it's blue sky.
Can I start?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
Bimalji.
No,
First you.
you start. Because
Okay. Sorry.
After you.
So, Mr. Bhaskar, I would like to draw, the audience attention to a research which CRISIL has done on the pulses market, right?
Okay.
So, agri market, follow the Cobb web phenomenon, right? And this phenomena says when prices are high 1 year, production will be high next year, and that's
Yes.
the cycle agriculture market follows, right? And if I connect you to the first point which you have made, that farmers sow in expectation of high prices, when actually they are making a sowing decision, they are ensuring better supply. And when
Yes.
there is better supply, I don't think we can really look into the higher prices. Right? It's a demand supply, right?
Okay.
And traditionally, conventionally, I would rather say government has has remained very instrumental to create that balance, right? If there is a shortage of the supply shortage, they are coming very actively. They are ensuring import is happening. They are also doing import. Government agencies are doing import. And when supply is over and prices are low, they are coming and buying at the MSP from the farmers, right? So the balance somehow is being created by the government, and that has been done not now. I think since last 1-2 decade, if you see, the same policies is going on. But yes, when we are playing around with the demand supply, there has to be some disruption, and that disruption, nobody knows where it will lead to, whether it will lead to consumer protection, stock limit, or where it will lead to prices going down and we have ban on the import, right? But everything happens has impact on a trader who is having both the leg open. I have import commitment and I have some forward commitment made for the supply in the domestic market, right? So now what we are saying, right? This traditional approach is fine, accepted, well tested. But now I think it's time to move to the next level, right? We have to look out for something which is accepted by all, and disruption is much lesser, or maybe we have some predictable disruption rather than having unpredictable disruption which can impact everything, right? If there is no import, I can't do anything, right? If there is a change in import duty, I can adjust into the prices. But what if there is no import at all, right?
Yes.
And if we are seeing no import this year, what would Australia do next year, right? So, and then next year when we are actually short of, we are looking around here that we have no pulses. But I will come back to the point that the price is the main and the most important thing. Right. Just I would like to draw a very basic example. 10 years back, when weather used to have a bad impact on the crop, the government department used to do a survey and the compensation being distributed. Right. I think we all of us know that was a very common policy. Then the new things comes, which is weather insurance. If something happens to the crop because of any climatic reason, there is a mechanism how it will be get paid, and government is not a party into that, right? Of course, they are supporting this initiative by subsidizing the premium central, but it's a scientific way of doing the things. We are supporting farmer, we are ensuring whether loss will be covered, but we are also not being the party going to the market and then doing the survey, and a lot of protests used to happen. Now, I think after 20 years of derivatives market, we have matured enough in terms of understanding of the market. Regulatory system has improved a lot, and we have two live put option which can protect every segment of the market from both the perspective, whether it's the demand side or supply side. So I think we have to move towards that slowly and gradually, and depend more on the market driven tool rather than following a conventional approach for long. I will not say it's outdated, but I think that need upgradation.
Excellent. Okay. Bimalji, you had some ideas on risk mitigation.
Yeah, what Mr. Kapil has said, I think I endorse his views. And definitely, instead of the conventional, what has been going on, we need to make the market more scientific, more bigger, and we have to bring in the technology for that. Because at the moment only Chennai is being traded on the exchange. And all other pulses are still traded in the same conventional manner. So you see, pulses, I'll say it is not like the other commodities. The reason being, this is a staple food. Every Indian needs pulses in some form every day. So it's a very important product as far as the policymakers are concerned.
Correct.
Because they don't want to see the prices to go beyond a certain level, like the spices. The spices can hit the roof, but the government cannot allow the pulses to go beyond certain levels because we have a large population and everybody needs, because the pulses are main source of the protein and nutrition, as far as the nutrition is concerned, to the vegetarian segment of our population. So government has announced the minimum support price. Whenever the prices goes down, as Mr. Kapil has said, that the government intervenes and they procure the pulses. So when the prices have been above the minimum support price, then there is no government intervention. But definitely, if it goes beyond a certain level, like this happened last year, anticipating the shortage, the government of India has allowed the import. I'll bring to attention of to all of you that earlier the policy of the government was free trade, that we should allow the pulses. If the cheaper pulses are available across the globe, why not we bring in those pulses and bring it to India and let the consumer be benefited. But now, for last 3.5 years, government of India has changed the policy. Most of the pulses are restricted, and as far as the imports are concerned, and only they announce the annual quota to bring in to whenever there is a scarcity, they announce the quota for the imports. But like this time in May, they have announced the import of tur, moong, urad till 31st October, and this has been freely allowed because now government of India is also anticipating there is shortage. So I think pulses needs more pulses are required to be traded on the exchange, and we need to have a more scientific view and more and technology should be brought in so that we can better manage the risk. But definitely, I say there will be always disruptions because of the weather conditions, because of number of factors. Not only this, many times what I am seeing, of course, I can't say like the government numbers of the crops. Like this year, government was talking the Chennai is about 12.6 million ton, but the trade sources are different. The trade estimates are about 8.5 million ton. So this brings lot of volatility in the market.
Yes.
But of course, these 8 and 8.5 million ton, the trade estimates, these are not very authenticated numbers, but these are based on the ground realities. These are based on the yields, what they are getting from the farmers, from the mandis, based on and the arrival in the mandis. So these numbers also many times play a vast role in the volatility of in the pulses market. So pulses still, I won't say it is not. Still, it needs to be more organized. And I think it is not as organized as the other sectors we have in India. And regarding your one question of the Myanmar farmers and the Canadian farmers, let me tell you, there is a big difference between the Canadian farmers and the Indian farmers. In Canada, in United States, in Australia, the farm size are very large. These are 2,000 acres, 5,000 acres, 10,000 acres, and these are all the crops are being planted mechanized with the technology, and they are using the technology to plant the crop, to harvest the crop, and they have got very scientific storage also. So, but whereas in India, our land size is very small for the farmers. It is 1 acre, 1.5 acre, 2 acre. Then still we have to have. I tell you, I visited sometimes this Marathwada mandis, and I've seen that there are no proper storage place. There are no proper warehouses. Still, we have to go a far way. We have to go a long way to modernize our agriculture.
Yes.
Because there are not the infrastructure is not built. In fact, the government of India was bringing the farm policy, which was we as IPG, we welcome the policy, but anyway, that's a political issue. But there were a number of measures taken by government of India to bring in the investment in the infrastructure, which is very much required. So there is a huge difference between what you said in the Canadian farmers and in there is the perception. We have to understand they both are at a different situation. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Thank you. Okay. Before we, Sandeepji, can I ask you one direct question? Okay. My question is again related to risk mitigation. And just like Bimalji said that, there are times that the differences of figures, estimates with the government, estimates with the trade. And sometimes because of these difference, you have policies which may not be conducive for the trade. And sometimes there are differences of opinion there. The second problem is when the government starts deciding what the production, what the prices should be, you're creating a super trader. And a super trader against a normal trader can again be disruptive. How do we minimize this friction?
Yeah, as Bimalji said rightly and Kapilji also said rightly, there has to be some way out, because this kind of disruption or interference cannot give a very healthy price discovery mechanism. So somehow we need to promote mechanized agriculture in the country. The way Israel has been doing, the way Canada has been doing. So, and somehow, there are other substitutes also. And if there is a natural flow, as you said, automatically the substitutes will come in, automatically the prices will go down. But just that, we have exchanges and we can implement some stock limits and all those things. So government has been doing it, but then, they have to do it also. It's not that because had I been there, even I would have, thought the same way, because there is tremendous pressure from the consumers also. So it's a very big, it's a catch-22 situation. Somehow I don't have the right answer for it, but then somehow I feel that, but this is not the right solution also at the same time. So I think price discovery, and then we should actually increase the imports. We can have, say Pakistan, Canada, Burma, and all these countries to export more to the country, to our country. And that's the only way. And somehow we have seen how things got disrupted, how clients lost money when these kind of measures were implemented by the exchange also, because exchange cannot do anything. So whenever these kind of measures are implemented or enforced, somehow, the disruption really causes lots of losses to the participants. And somehow that's the reason why the agricultural market or agricultural exchanges could not grow the way they should have been. Somehow we should be proud of NCDX, because Chana, as Kapilji rightly said, it's in fact, we have to take reference from the international exchanges in lots of other commodities. But when it comes to agri commodities, say guar or chana, we have become a kind of reference exchange. So when we are a reference exchange, and when these kind of measures are being implemented or enforced, I think, the prices may not be the right prices, and they may not be the rightly referentiable prices.
I've got one more question because I know I will be running a short time very quickly. Just one more little question, and that's again open to everybody. Ideally, I know NAFED comes in and there's an auction route in pulses. An auction route is also where you're buying from the farmers. When the government is a purchaser from the farmers, it's not exactly discovery of prices. Ideally, the government should be purchasing from the commodity exchange. Because the government purchases the commodity exchange, that becomes the reference price. And every farmer goes there to the commodity exchange. The government does not influence prices and which farmer's crop I have to take or which farmer's crop I have not to take. It changes. Can we persuade the government to shift from direct purchasing from the farmer to direct purchasing from the exchange? Because then it makes the exchange and price discovery more robust. Open to all.
Can I answer?
Yes, please.
Please.
Yeah. I think what you said, this may not very much apply to the pulses as far as I think.
Okay,
The reason being, as I said, the pulses are still in scarcity. We still need to import few million tons of pulses to bridge the gap between demand and supply. So the government wants to encourage the production. I tell you, for last 30 years, before this 3 years, our production has been really stagnant. It was ranging from 12 million to 16 million tons, and our population was rising, and we had to import a large quantity. And as I said in my opening remark, that we imported 6.6, our import peaked at 6.6 million ton in 2016 and 17. So now the government has come out with the policy to support the farmers. They want to boost the production. So they announced the minimum, they have hiked the minimum support price.
Okay.
To a level where the farmers are encouraged to boost the production. They have not only announced the minimum support price, but they started buying at minimum support price, which previous governments have not done.
Okay.
This minimum support price policy was there for decades, but there was very minimal purchase by any of the governments. And whenever there was a scarcity and shortage, we started importing. I tell you, in early 90s, our import was only 4 lakh tons. And now in 2016-17, it was 66 lakh tons. So our import kept on increasing, because we were getting cheaper imports. Because when you are comparing Indian farmer with a Canadian farmer is doing the farming is doing the mechanized farming. They have all sorts of facilities, all sorts of technologies. Their cost of production is low. Their yields are so high. I tell you, as far as this yellow peas mutton is concerned, I visited the Canadian farms. They are producing more than 4 metric tons in a hectare than our production, which is less than 1 ton per hectare. So it is very difficult. So we were getting the cheaper imports. But Government of India, since last 3 years, has decided to boost the production, and now they are buying at minimum support price. And whenever there is prices are going down below the minimum support price, this year there was a scale. I tell you the numbers. The problem is with the crop numbers. Government of India was giving 12.6 million ton chana production, whereas the trade was giving different. So this year we have seen the prices going up during the harvest time also. That was one of the reasons. I have heard Mr. Ramesh Chand stating on CNBC that this was one of the reasons that they were anticipating the hoarding by the traders. But I tell you, this question is still to be answered by everybody, because as I say, that trade sources, trade estimates are also not very authenticated, but definitely they are based on some ground realities, and we don't see that much stock available in the country. So Government of India finally anticipated there is a scarcity and allowed the import. So I think to allow to buy the product at exchange. I think that time has not yet come. I think at the moment, first of all, we need to be self-sufficient. We have to have more production, and then I think that, as you suggested, that it can be done on the exchange. I think then it can be done. I think more. It can be the purchases can be. It can be a free commodity, which can be traded by everybody, including the government.
Excellent. And what do you think, and this again open to everyone, what do you think are the fundamentals driving demand and supply for the next Kharif season?
Kharif season, you see, now Kharif season sowing is going on. And I think now it will be over in a week or so. Definitely there was some disruption in the beginning, in the end of June and first week of July. There was a lull between those 2 weeks. But now we have a good monsoon, particularly in Maharashtra. Of course, we are still seeing some scarcity of the water in rainfall in MP and Rajasthan. So we have to see the exact numbers, but we are anticipating about 13 million hectares will be, I think, planting will be done. And we are expecting a crop of, the government of India is targeted about 9.8 million tons. So we have to see that how this number goes. But as far as this demand during this period is concerned, as I told you, between August to November, this is the festival period. Demand will augment, demand will increase. Now, one more thing. This year, demand in the beginning was not so much because we had from April to June, there were lockdowns in many of the states. Now these lockdowns are opening up in most of the states. The demand from hotels, restaurants, street shop, Kelawala, Khomchawala, this demand is going to increase. So this demand plus the demand from the for the festival period, I think we are going to see the demand will increase. That is why the government has opened up the import, because we are anticipating the scarcity, particularly in 3 pulses, Tuar, Urad and Moong. So, this is I think the situation in Kharif. Of course, Kharif will be sowing will be Kharif harvesting will be done only in October and December. Urad and Moong will be harvested in September and October, and Tuar will be harvested in December. So for these months, coming 4 months, these crops will not help much, and this has to be fulfilled by the demand has to be fulfilled by either the present stock or through the imports.
Excellent. Any other views, Kapilji? You've been sitting quiet there.
Bhaskarji, I will like to.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Sabharwalji.
Bhaskarji, I will like to intervene.
Okay.
I have listened to Mr. Bimal Kothari's view. A little bit difference. Let me give my little background. I am not only a commodity broker, but my group, I am a farmer also.
Okay.
Many of the people who are here, my group has a land of about 500 acres in Rudrapur in Uttarakhand.
Okay.
And we are a farmer also. To tell you honestly, talking to Bimal Kothariji's point, I was discussing with the people who are there at my site today only, and that too 15 minutes before the program was going to start when I was asked to come over here. We, in place of 2 crops, we are taking 4 crops now. But still we are not going for the pulses. I asked my people, they said that we are going for the popular, we are going for sugarcane, we are going for wheat, rice, fruits and vegetables. In the 4, normally we used to have 2 crops a year. Now we are having 4 crops. Our yield also per acre has increased. What my people told me was that the profitability by growing pulses does not come at all. You were very right in saying that why not through commodity exchanges? I request here that today we are only among the pulses, chana is there. Why not the worldwide, the two commodities being traded? I know none of the speaker touched upon that subject, so I thought that I should. Why not we try that even the tuar and the udar start trading on the exchanges? If we are able to present a nice presentation, the association along with the NCDEX to the government, so it may not be difficult at all. As I talk to you about options, we are trying our level best. Similarly, I may, Bimal Kothari ji, he is a knowledgeable person, and I am actually, though being a farmer, also more into the stocks than into the commodities, to tell you honestly.
Okay.
But still, I am of the opinion that the government is looking for the various suggestions, and especially after this farmers' agitation, though the agitation is on that three basic laws which the government has come on, but in what other ways the help to the farmers can be done? That's what we are actually, the government is working very hard on that. And we may listen something on this, probably from the Prime Minister's mouth in the Mann Ki Baat day after tomorrow. It may or may not be if he's focusing more on Olympics and other things, but if he's focusing because the parliament session is on also, but there is a feeling that some sort of discussion on that can come. So I thought when with the presence of the chief executive of the NCDEX, why not we work together and we can take the opinion of the experts like Mr. Bimal Kothari or the journalists like you, that how to ensure that this volume shifts to that. Today there's a hue and cry in the, if pulses when the tour went about 3 years back to 200 rupees, though actually it was not, what was the hue and cry in the total country. So yes, our bureaucracy, one of you mentioned about also that our bureaucracy is such that is not looking towards the interest of the farmers. They try to ensure that the labor which is working in the urban areas, they doesn't get things at a higher rate.
Higher price.
So, higher price. So the requirement is that if the experts, the associations and the exchanges work together, the government is there to consider anything and everything. I can only mention that much.
Excellent.
Over to you, Mr. Bhaskar.
Okay. I can see lots of questions coming from the audience, but I've run out of time. And what I'd like to do is request Suresh Arora ji to give his concluding remarks and also the formal vote of thanks.
I will just like to say one small thing before Suresh Arora ji takes over. Coming week, and the banner of a PhD chamber, we are holding a webinar on the commodity as an asset class. Where NCDEX EML Managing Director Mr. Murgan Paranjpe will be the chief speaker. And before Mr. Suresh Arora, I will also like to apologize on behalf of the association that the number of total audience today were very less. I assure Kapilji and Arunji that on behalf of associations also, that in the coming webinars which we'll be doing together, I will personally ensure that the participation is higher. Today at one time, we have seen the highest number of people were 72 at a time, while only 83 total have logged in. Over to you, Mr. Suresh Arora.
Thank you, sir.
Nice to see you. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Sabarwal ji. Thank you very much. And thank you, Mr. Bhaskar, for moderating this session with a hot topic of pulses. It is very hot these days.
It is very hot, yes.
Chana jor garam hai.
It's hot in a different way, yes.
It's on a different way.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Kothari. Thank you very much, Mr. Kapil Dev. And thank you, Sandeep. On behalf of CPI, thank you each and every participants who attended this seminar, and thank you very much. And concluding remarks में मैं अगर एक बात कहूँ तो सभी जितने भी स्पीकर थे उनकी बात में अगर एक ही चीज को देखा जाए तो there is a lot of disruption for prices and just because of that lot of volatility is there. So exchange platform जो सब्जेक्ट था आज की टॉपिक का, मतलब आज का जो टॉपिक था कि एक्सचेंज के प्लेटफॉर्म को कैसे यूज किया जाए, तो आई थिंक कि इतनी वोलेटिलिटी को मैनेज करने के लिए और इस डिस्ट्रप्शन में एक्सचेंज प्लेटफॉर्म कैन बी अ वेरी हेल्प एंड इट कैन बी अ वेरी गुड टूल टू मैनेज रिस्क देयर. And thank you very much again on behalf of CPI. I thank you very much, all of you. Thanks a lot.
Special thanks to Mr. Arun Raste, the Managing Director and CEO, for being present during the.
We would like to see him. We would like to see him, sir.
And,
Arunji,
to
everyone
Mr.
wants to see you.
And also to Mr. Alan Mukherjee, the another senior office bearer of the NCDEF.
Sir, if Mr. Raste sir is there, if we can see him on the screen, Kapil ji.
Arunji,
I'm as connected as you are, Sandeep ji, so I can also request him to switch on the camera.
no, it's quite possibly stepped out for a while.
Okay, fine.
Maybe. Just one thing I want to give. This is just beginning, Sabharwal ji. Like we are exchange and broking community, which CPI represent, are now moving, closely to this association to bridge the gap we have in terms of, understanding how these markets can be used. So we have done with C, where this is the first round of event, and it will be followed by various classrooms series to the participants and the member of IPGA, which are processor, exporter, importer, and farmers as well. So this is just beginning, and hopefully next time we will have much more detailed discussion how actually price risk management can be done. Thank you very much.
We will be more than happy to participate with you in all sort of programs, even if it is a specialized program for any particular group. We will be more than happy to participate, and if required, and if you do it in a specific any section, we will be there to even provide you the best of the speakers on a particular issue on that country. So we will certainly be look forward for a much longer relation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All my participants, all the speakers and the audience, thank you, each one of you, for the opening remarks and for the closing remarks too. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.